It's a typewriter.
Alright, you got...
Like...
Yeah.
Alright.
Don't tell me it's a textile thing, right?
Hello and welcome to the Orig,
No,
a
it's a
show by
hipster
Damage
thing.
Control Podcasting, a professionally unprofessional look at the conventions, ideas, and genres of filmmaking. I'm here with...
Daniel Newkirk.
Tyler Tipton.
Cody Dietrich.
Okay, this episode's topic will be reboots. Hard, soft, requel, a prequel, and everything in between. To keep everything tight... That's not
Like
one,
a tiger.
That's not one of my jokes. They're coming later. We're gonna focus in on reboots of film and TV.
I'm an expert on soft, hard, and tight.
I'm an expert on pre-requels. Hard or soft, doesn't matter. Okay, trivia time. Here we go. We always
I regret this already.
we open with my microphone sucks. Okay,
I think it's just you.
We always open with trivia.
It's the first episode.
I know, but
The first re-episode.
episode, the
re-episode.
reboots. It's the reboot episode.
Is
Okay.
it a reboot or is it a revival?
I feel like we're a requel.
Well, we're gonna discuss. We're gonna discuss that later.
Did we get the 1 minute out before Adam broke it?
All right. Yeah, we did actually. Okay, here we go. According to allthat'sinteresting.com, what is considered the first reboot? A, the Bond series, B, the Return of Godzilla, or C, Star Wars XXX parody?
I'm hoping to God it's C, but I feel like it's B.
Yeah, it's Godzilla. Definitely Godzilla.
I'm going to go with Bond series. Well, no, because Bond is a continuation. It's always been the same guy, right?
No.
It's always been the same character, but it's always been different actors.
Yeah,
The fact that it's different characters is a fan theory.
It is the Return of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Where they consciously and explicitly ignored past adaptations instead of returning to the story's beginnings. If that's not true, I got it from allthat'sinteresting.com. I've learned my lessons from past...
Allthat'sinteresting.com
all
is
right.
the weirdest naming website.
Here we go. According to the internet, what is the definition of a reboot?
The internet?
Yeah.
Just the all of the internet?
Well, I took it.
All-encompassing internet.
See, he corrects his mistakes and then immediately goes back to all of the internet agrees on this thing.
I'm growing as a person.
All right,
Okay,
internet, how do you agree with everything going on so far?
According to the internet, what is the definition of a reboot? A, follows an early 2000s family sitcom that Hulu has rebooted and a dysfunctional cast that must deal with their unresolved issues in today's fast-changing world.
It's A.
B, a series that follows the adventures of a guardian named Bob and his companions Enzo
B.
and Dot Matrix as they work to keep the computer system of mainframe safe from
Oh my
viruses
God.
and other threats. Or C,
A and B.
or C, an act or instance of booting a computer system again.
A, B, and C.
All three?
Yeah, that was into my jokes.
This might be
That wasn't a joke. That was you.
That might be the first funny thing Adam has ever done.
Yeah, thank
like
you.
legitimately, that was great.
But you know
That's
the
a-
problem is? He probably started writing, like he typed in reboot and was like, oh, I'll write down this. And I'll be like, oh shit, that's reboot. I'll write down this. And then at the end he's like, oh crap. Oops.
Yeah, it kind of worked that way a little bit. Okay, so how would you guys define define a reboot? Is it the same as a remake? Is a remake different? What's a revival? What's a requel? What is your definition of is there even a hard line that you can prove it's a reboot, or is everything just gray, or is it subjective?
So I think for me, like
That's
a reboot.
That's Daniel Newkirk.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
we introduce ourselves at the start of the episode.
Okay.
So to me, I think it's a matter of ignoring past content, right? So if you are acknowledging the past content exists, then you are not rebooting anything. You are starting back up, you're making a sequel, you are reviving it, you are not starting over. So to me, a reboot has to specifically ignore old content and make new stuff. So Transformers is the quickest example that comes to mind for obvious reasons.
Isn't every movie a reboot?
Exactly. Every generation of TV show pretty much ignores all of the previous content. The only time that didn't happen was when G1 moved into Beast Wars. Beast Wars acknowledged G1 as canon content. even though they've messed with it a lot. But you have like Earthspark and the Netflix exclusive series, and you have Armada and Energon, and they all ignored previous content. Armada, Energon, and Cybertron were a connected universe, but they ignored everything else. So I think that's a reboot.
Okay.
I had no idea. I honestly didn't. I tried to look up. I Wikipedia'd. I pulled an Atom. I Wikipedia'd Reboot, and it had a list. I'm like, that's not a reboot. That's a revival. That's why I asked, what's the difference between a reboot and a revival?
Cody?
That was my years of research.
Oh.
That Wikipedia Google.
3 years.
Uh-huh. Cody's broken. Cody's broken.
Yeah.
Someone reboot Cody.
Well,
I'm not looking for
no, don't do
I'm
that.
not-
Isn't that your reboot? button?
I'm
No,
not-
that
It
is a
definitely
don't touch
turns them
Cody
on.
My, I can agree with Daniel up to a point, but unless they're rehashing everything, some of that knowledge is just left over. Like when we're talking about Spider-Man movies, like when they did the Amazing Spider-Man movies, they pretty much left out the Uncle Ben story, didn't they?
No.
No.
No, wait, am I
alright.
thinking about
Yeah,
Homecoming?
the Tom Holland's
Yeah,
Spider-Man
but-
left out the Uncle Ben storyline.
Yeah, but basically, after seeing it twice already, for the third time around, they just left it out, and even though it was a reboot, but because there was so much already known about Spider-Man, there was no need to even put that in there.
But I don't think there was an Uncle Ben character at all.
No, they assume they lay the foundations for it, and it's implied, but they just don't go into the details of it, I think.
Right, but I think the thing that really makes that, like, solidifies that as a reboot is, yes, they acknowledge Uncle Ben, all that stuff happened, but they don't keep the canonicity of Maguire or Garfield's Uncle Ben storylines.
They'll technically do, because when we get the third Spider-Man movie, they bring them into the MCU.
Touche, my friend.
Not for
touche.
Tom Holland's Spider-Man's Uncle Ben. In fact, if anything, solidifies it more as a reboot, because they is specifically defining these Uncle Bens to these Spider-Mans in this multiverse, and they are not saying that Tom Holland and
Andrew Garfield.
No, the lady who played
Marissa
Aunt May.
Tomei.
Yeah, they are being recast
She gets
as
naked in a
other
wrestler.
characters.
In what?
The Wrestler. She's a stripper and a wrestler.
Oh, that is her, isn't that?
Yes, it is.
That movie is fantastic.
I hope to God my wife doesn't listen to this.
Anyway, okay. So, even though we're talking about reboots, let's just make a hard line. How would you define like a remake then?
Any Platinum Dunes movie. Isn't that the horror?
Right, but
That's fair.
yeah, okay.
I think
Okay.
it depends on like how much of the percentage is like the old movie, like Psycho. The remake of Psycho,
Where it's a shot
was
for shot?
shot for shot. That's a remake. But if you have something like
So can you
Dracula, for example, those are completely different movies.
So
when you
can
see
you-
the two different Draculas.
can you even like it? Can you even like form that into even go any farther to where you can bypass remake and say it's an adaptation? Because where you take your personal feelings from what I think, what's that comedian that some people like, some people yeah, that helps. You out.
Who's that comedian?
Every comedian.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Bill Hader?
Close. Patton Oswalt. Close. Patton Oswalt, like some people like him, some people don't. He was getting mad at the Watchmen because he's like, that's not really an adaptation. He just did it like just like the comic book. But so how would you? Can you take like? Would it be considered an adaptation if you read like Batman Year One? Because this is the first thing that came to my head, even though it's been done a million times. Batman Year One, and instead of doing it like the comic book, adapt it to how it like the feeling of it. I guess that would be Batman Begins then. I mean,
Yeah, I think
is that how you would define an adaptation?
I think so, because like, and especially if you're transferring from one media to another, right? So I disagree that Watchmen wasn't an adaptation. I think it is, because you took a comic book and then shot it to film, and then you cut out parts that didn't fit with the flow, and then, unfortunately, you changed the ending, which then
Do
it
you
changes
really-
all of the feelings of that book.
Do you really think that octopus would have worked?
Yes. I wanted to see it.
considering we got Starro on the big screen and it worked, yes.
Yeah, but how many years later? But don't you think Starro ran because Watchmen walked?
Maybe. But I think
Thank
that you would have gotten a better reaction.
I would like to applaud that, but I feel like that would fuck up the entire mic system, and I hate giving you credit. But yeah, I mean, isn't an adaptation, like you said, like Lock and Key on Netflix? That is an adaptation. Mm-hmm. Daniel's favorite movie series, Harry Potter, is an adaptation of that book.
Who?
Shut up.
Doctor Who, Daniel's favorite TV show.
That's not an adaptation.
Oh, okay.
That is a revival. The series was revived.
Okay.
Oh, now that is an interesting question there.
We're getting to revival. Hang on. Have we done remake? Have we settled on what we decided a remake was?
I mean, I said my opinions on it.
Okay.
I have no opinion.
Cody, do I need to hit your reboot button?
No, like, I'm thinking,
Cody's
like...
dead. Cody's just like...
And this loyal audience is why I start the conversations.
Well, I recently had a favorite childhood show of mine remade, like, in the past several years. The original Digimon Adventures was redone for a modern-day audience. So they, like, updated technology, goes back... The 90s show, they had, like, the highest piece of technology they had was, like, a laptop. But it was all about the digital world and whatnot.
But is that a remake or a reboot?
Or a revival.
That's what I'm trying to distinguish. That's why I'm putting you there. I'm thinking it's a remake because they don't follow word for word. They update more than just small little things. They also change core aspects of the world and the history.
That would be a reboot.
Are the characters still the same?
All the characters are still the same. Storylines follows itself up to, like, second episode, then it sort of veers off. They're doing two different stories. Like, you see familiar faces from the old series, but they're not technically the same people.
I would think that would have to be a revival, because you have the same characters.
But they reverse all the canonicity of the first series, right? So they're starting over at the start of the show.
So
again.
it's like Back to the Future. It's a split in the timeline. It went askew. I really just wanted to say askew while drawing on my imaginary whiteboard.
Oh, that's fair.
That's not fair.
Speaking of reboots, with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's crap, they're gonna do the
crap.
I didn't even mean that. See, some of my jokes, I'm just so funny that I don't even realize I'm funny. They're gonna do the Pirates. They're gonna reboot the Pirates with all females. But they're going to make it rated R.
I saw the Pirates remake with all females.
Yes.
It is a fantastic movie with a CG skeleton.
You guys are clearly...
You need to.
I saw it, but I didn't see it.
You guys clearly didn't hear my joke.
Yes.
Rated R.
R, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
Yes.
So back on topic. Here's a question for the forum here. What about the new Star Trek movies?
Yep. We're getting there. Hang on. We're getting there.
All right.
No, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just like...
No.
Go ahead, Adam.
Just cut them off.
No, you had to no-and me.
Hey, Daniel, how does it feel not having any legs after Adam chopped them off?
Right?
Okay, we're getting to Star Trek. Hang on.
Okay.
So the word was brought up a couple times, revival. That's kind of...
I've never said that word in my entire life.
So
I don't believe that word exists.
According to Screen Rant, a revival is a continuation of the same story set after the events of the story audience are familiar with. It's more common with TV shows. So I don't think... Would you say Digimon?
Yes. But if by that definition, this new show is not a revival of the show because it does not take place after the events of the previous show. It takes place during the same time, same characters, different setting.
So I think a good example of that for our anime fans would be Naruto and Boruto, because that takes place after all of the events of Naruto have been completed.
They just change one letter?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, Naruto is Naruto's son.
Oh, okay.
And Grant, I know nothing about this show other than that is what has happened.
I know he runs with his arms behind him.
Yep.
Does that make him more like
Wait, is that right?
That's the rumor. That's what, or at least that's what the theory is. I just think it looks
a manga theory. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So, getting to Daniel's thing, since we discussed Yep. Let's give examples.
Hold on, let me go back to my first piece of paper.
So what you missed is Adam hold up 3 loose pieces of paper, run his finger down the lines, and go da 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 da, like he's processing.
You know what the worst thing is? He wrote page numbers in the top corner.
Did he really?
Oh.
Do you have a site source or a citation page too?
It's in the folder.
Is it MLA?
Anyway,
In case there's ever, a worldwide technological shortage, we'll still be able to do this podcast because Adam has it all written down on pieces of paper.
Well,
good.
if we
We
get
just hand it to
planned
people
enough,
on
it'll probably be the
floppies.
Exactly.
highest rated show in the Fire Circle.
yes. Anyways, let's talk about examples of reboots. Reboots is the main because we're rebooting the podcast. Let's do example. Let's stick with movies for now. Let's do good and bad.
Okay.
I know it's subjective. God, Tinny. I know it's subjective, but good and bad. You want to do Star Trek, so let's hit it there. Star Trek.
Oh, I was just curious what you would call it.
Yeah, but
So the 2000. Are you talking about the 2009? Or are you talking about
the Kelvin?
I'm talking
the
about
Kelvin,
the Chris Pine one.
The Kelvin.
yeah,
universe.
2009? Would
Sure.
that would be a
I think that'd be a reboot.
it'd be a reboot because it takes
It's a changing of the timeline, changing natural events of what they were supposed to originally be.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is it recognizes all of the series and all of the movies' canonicity. They recognizes all of that as canon in the first movie.
OG Spock's in it.
Exactly. And then they use the same storylines in movie 2, because that's the con, but they don't do the Viger storyline in 1, and then 3 is completely its own thing.
I actually haven't.
Do they meet God in 4? Have they made 4
They
yet?
haven't made 4 yet.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
4
they
is
stopped.
where they go back in time to save whales.
Quentin-
That's my favorite one.
Quentin Tarantino might be doing 4 or a 1, maybe.
Really?
I actually have an answer to that, but that comes at the end of the podcast.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Does anyone else have any examples? I've got a few.
RoboCop.
Ooh, that's in the bad section.
That's in the bad. I've not seen a single RoboCop.
I did not care for it. It was cool to see the updated graphics, but to me, it lost a lot of its humanity.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I would like an update, like I said, the update of the technology, because what they thought was going to be futuristic back then was kind of a joke. And what they said futuristic was going to be like in that movie, I could gel behind more, because it's it was a more logical step, in my opinion.
Did you like the black suit?
I like the tactical aspect that I could switch between black and silver. I still would prefer to have the silver.
Did not know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tyler?
I got nothing.
Okay. Let's start off with good review. Here's one that I like, and I still think it holds up today. The Mummy, 1999.
Oh,
the Brendan Fraser one?
that'd be.
Yeah.
I guess that would be.
Yeah, that is technically a reboot.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because the Mummy series is technically Universal Studios, and they control all the old Universal monster movies.
Yeah, the Mummy.
Oh, I guess
it's actually the same.
That- I agree with that.
I've never
I
really
would-
can.
That I could probably. The Mummy is a movie I could watch on repeat. And
What about Scorpion King?
no.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's alright.
Yeah, Mummy's fantastic. Yeah, it's a great movie.
Okay. All right. I enjoyed the first one. I haven't seen the sequels. Ocean's 11.
That's a remake as well.
No, remake or reboot?
Oh, I guess it is it's a re-something.
It's
I didn't know that, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know it was a remake of or a reboot of another movie from the past.
Yeah, the Rat Pack.
Oh. No idea.
I don't know what that would be. Did we talk about what makes a reboot a reboot? I
Yeah,
wasn't paying
man.
attention.
Well, is the title part of it? Is the title of the movie part of it being classified as a reboot, revival, and whatnot? Because if it's Ocean 11 and the original movie was the Rat Pack,
No.
and it's Ocean's 11,
The
It was-
actors are the Rat Pack. You know, like the Brat Pack, the
Gotcha.
Splat Pack.
Frat Pack.
Were the characters named the same?
I'm
I
not
think
seeing
Danny Ocean was the only
Yeah,
one.
maybe
that
Brad
had
Pitt's character was
But
the same name as
the main plot of Ocean's 11, the first one, I don't think it had anything to do.
No,
Did
no, they robbed a casino, but I think they didn't get the money at the end of the original. They put it in a coffin, I think, in the
Spoilers,
coffin,
Adam.
and and then What was
movie
that? What was
that's 70 years old.
What was that movie I spoiled on accident on one episode? And you guys got like extremely pissed.
Oh, I don't remember.
And
what
I
it
have
was.
no idea. You guys were mad. Anyway,
Get in the comments and tell us what movie that was. The one person that's listened to every single episode.
Adam's mom.
Mom, get in the comments.
no, Cody's mom listened to it.
She's had some difficulties over the last few years. She's
No, but I'm
longer
saying-
a fan.
Well, I'm saying, but she did.
She's no longer. I was really worried you were gonna say something horrible, like she had died, and I was gonna feel really bad.
I'm used to it, man. Like
You used to.
No, I'm used to putting my foot in my mouth.
You're
I
used to killing people.
I was at work and there was a contractor. We were installing new sprinkler system, and I was bitching about state surveyors, right? And the contractor was like, "Yeah, my wife is one." And I'm like, "Oh no, it's not. No, it's
That
not
was the
them."
one good thing watching Adam at work is
Yeah,
just like,
try
oh, look at that. He fit his whole foot in his mouth
Yeah,
that
I'm
time.
the king of. Okay, we talked about Star Trek. I have an answer to your question at the end of the podcast.
All right.
Batman Begins.
That would be because that would be a reboot from the
You know, the Tim Burton movies, right?
well, would the Schumacher Batman be a reboot from the Burton?
No, because supposedly Burton and Schumacher universes are together. Because in Batman Forever, in the prison scene, or Batman and Robin in the prison scene, you see the Joker's outfit, or maybe his
You saw the Riddler. You saw the Riddler's outfit.
but
from
you
Batman.
saw the Joker's,
I remember you saw Riddler and Two Faces.
and you saw the Penguin. You saw one of the Penguin bombs.
Well, Forever and
Robin.
Batman and Robin are definitely connected because they share the canonicity of Robin.
But they also
They
share
the
Alfred.
obnoxious.
You're right, they
futuristic-
do. That's the same Alfred.
They
isn't it?
share Alfred.
So I think all four of those are.
Is it the
shared.
same Alfred or is it the same actor playing Alfred?
Ooh.
It's the same Alfred.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty.
Isn't it the same Batmobile too?
No, it's a different
Batmobile changes every movie.
They have to sell toys.
Yeah, but similar. Like
No.
it's
No,
not
not
even
even
it's not
similar. One was
drastically
more
different, is it?
boxy, and one was more curvy.
Remember, one had that futuristic disco ball in the middle of it.
One?
No, one of them.
Oh,
Batman and Robin.
Batman
Had
and
that,
Robin
it
had
had
like
that
the
H.R. Geiger
the
design.
front of it. Oh yeah, now
Yeah, like wasn't it? Batman Forever. That's when they introduced Batgirl in that one, right?
no, that was Batman and Robin.
Robin, yeah.
Batman and Robin.
Introduced Batgirl.
Yeah.
So Batman Forever is the introducing of Robin, then it's Batman
Yes.
and Robin introducing Batgirl.
Yeah.
Yes,
And that's the one where they took 3 different vehicles to go fight the.
yes.
Freeze
the
and
motorcycle, the swamp motorboat thing.
Yeah.
And then there was another motorcycle. No, a Batman had a
Like
car
a-
on like skis
The
type thing.
skiff. No, the skiff was what they called.
The Bat Snowmobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have like
That was
3 of
basically
those
just a toy
toys.
commercial. But those toys were awesome.
Well, I
That's
do
why
remember
I
that's
bought
also
them.
when we got the Bat credit card.
That
That
was-
was
yeah.
Clooney's, whichever
Yeah.
movie that was his.
That was Batman and Robin.
He came out and said he played that gay. Like Bruce Wayne was gay. He played.
Then he didn't understand the character.
I don't know.
Just don't point it at my
Not that
bedroom.
there's anything wrong with it, but he didn't understand the character.
What
So-
killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Which wasn't true.
Schwarzenegger, fantastic.
No.
As Mr. Freeze.
No,
I loved him
no,
as Mr. Freeze.
No.
But if we were going to recast him, the hitman from Breaking Bad would be a fantastic Mr. Freeze.
Never seen it.
I think what's his name?
I have no idea what his name
I've
is.
I've never seen Breaking Bad, but I think I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Is that-
bald, gray beard.
Yep,
Yeah,
alright,
he's
yep.
fantastic.
Yep,
Is
I've
that
seen,
the dude that got his face blown off in the hospital?
No,
No,
that's
that
Gus.
was that was
Gus, yeah.
the dude that was in The Boys, season 2.
I didn't watch season 2.
You need to.
Yeah, The
Okay.
Boys is real good.
Yes, sir.
Before we get off of Batman topic, I think we need to acknowledge the passing of Kevin Conroy, who is the best Batman who has ever been and probably will ever be.
He's gay too. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
I
Kevin
didn't know
Conroy, openly gay.
Okay.
But,
Not open enough. I didn't know.
well, he missed your opportunity.
Okay.
That would have been sex. No, sorry.
All right. We're doing.
Do
Anyone
you
got?
think he would use the voice? Like, if he just came up behind you and was like,
Oh.
I'm Batman. Like, would you
Okay,
just
guys, this
lose
might be a little too soon for this type of
shit?
conversation.
Well,
Yeah,
He
maybe
act-
a little
he-
disrespectful, but man, he
He
has
actually
a
fa-
perfect Batman voice.
He
You guys
actually
are-
famously did do that. There were 2 instances he did that that I heard in an interview with him where he was working in a soup kitchen, and one of the guys working with him recognized him that he was Batman, and he's like, "Hey, I'm not here for that. I'm just." And so he goes out and he's telling the people out in the like, "Hey, Batman's serving you soup," and they're like, "Yeah, whatever." And he's like, "Hey, tell him you're Batman." He goes, "No, man." And they're like, "Yeah, what?" So they're kind of like joking on the guy who said he was Batman. And finally, he yelled out from the kitchen, "I am vengeance. I am the night."
That would
And
make me,
those
I would
guys,
just
the guys
cringe.
like flipped.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another one he was saying in an interview where he was walking. It was at a convention, but it wasn't on the convention property. You know, it was like at the hotel or whatever. And these couple of kids were like, "Hey, are you Batman?" He goes, "No, I get it all the time." And the kids were like disappointed. And so like later in the day, he saw them and he snuck up behind them and said, "The I am vengeance, I am Batman," and they all like flipped out and he like signed autographs and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that sounds... I mean, that would be fucking amazing.
Right? Like, if I had a famous voice like that, I would do shit like that.
Like,
Yeah.
the only interview I ever really listened to was him on Kevin Smith's podcast, and he starts talking. I think it was after like Kevin Smith's
Was it
mom.
Fat Man on Batman or
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when like he was talking about the Ace scene from Justice League Unlimited,
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Where he was talking
Like,
about
makes me
that.
tear up every
Oh,
time I watch
and
it.
and then that was good. That would make me
That-
fucking ball.
Right?
That's probably the best portrayal of Batman is the Justice League.
The Ace
I-
scene.
No,
Or just the whole Justice League.
like that scene, the scene where the alien attack that kind of starts the whole series, and they're like, "We got to go out.
The White Martians.
we got to go out."
I don't think
It
it's
was
White Martians.
they were Hawkman's race.
Oh, the Thanagarians?
Yeah, Thanagarians, thank you.
Before it became Unlimited.
And he's like, we got to go out. We got to take off our masks. And Wally West is like, no. He's like, Wally West,
West,
Clark
Kent.
Kent, Diana. He's like naming them.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Batman was more of a pimp in that show.
I
than
liked-
anything else.
I forgot which
Who's
episode
Bruce
it
Wayne?
was, but it's like I think maybe it was the episode where like they turned into kids, and Wonder Woman says something. He's like, "I haven't been a kid since I was 8 years old," or something like that. Like his voice was just intense, like every single time.
Anyway, we're getting off topic.
So fantastic.
We'll do that for our Batman episode.
Yeah, sad to see him go.
I will say this: you guys talk about his voice like my mom and grandma talk about Sam Elliott's voice.
Oh, Sam
Oh,
Elliott's
he's got a
voice.
Sam
sexy
Elliott.
voice.
Oh, God.
Oh
Top,
God.
probably, if a Mount Rushmore of facial hair, he's on it.
Oh, he's the only face on that.
No, Neil Fallon from Clutch.
Oh Jesus.
Neil Fallon from Clutch.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a beard.
Sam Elliott, Abraham Lincoln would be on there.
No.
Yeah, oh yeah.
No.
If you're
Yeah.
talking about famous beards, Abraham Lincoln is on there.
Yeah.
No. If we were talking about famous hats, Abraham Lincoln would be
Look,
on there.
famous beards.
I thought we were talking about good beards.
Rock Hudson, because he was gay, but he married someone he's a famous beard.
Oh, okay. I got it. I got it.
No, anyway, we're getting off topic. Okay. All right, let's do, here's a list of what people consider bad reboots. Agree, disagree, whatever. Expand on it if you like. The Karate Kid 2010.
Oh yeah, the Kung Fu Kid, didn't care for it.
Nah, I already saw it. I mean, it.
Is that the one with Will Smith's kid?
Yeah,
Yeah, Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan. I mean, and I probably would have a different opinion if he got taught karate. He got taught kung fu.
Well, that's what Jackie Chan does, though.
Sure,
Kung
but
Fu.
it's not the Karate Kid if you learn kung fu. They are different.
Listen to this guy here.
I like the Jackie Chan humor brought to it, but I pretty much like anything with Jackie Chan in it. So I like the whole trying to catch the fly scene. It's like, oh, he's gonna use a chopstick, just fly swatter, and like made me laugh every time.
Oh yeah, good scenes. Like yeah, Jackie Chan's he's brilliant. He's fantastic.
What if they rebooted it today? I know they're doing Cobra Kai, but if they rebooted it today, would it be Krav Maga Kid?
That or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's the only.
Is that the dance fighting?
No, that's capoeira.
Oh, okay. Conan the Barbarian 2011
Never
with Jason
saw it.
Momoa, Aquaman himself.
Didn't see it.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't it wasn't as good as the original, but it wasn't bad.
Sorry, there's only one Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan.
I didn't
What
realize
about-
this
what
podcast
about
was so
O'Brien?
pro Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What about O'Brien?
Dumb.
Now, I will say about that movie that there were too many scenes that were far too dark. You couldn't see what was happening in it, so that was disappointing.
I do like the director, Marcus Nispel. I like him. He did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. He did the Carl Urban Pathfinder, where he was a Viking living with the Native Americans.
I saw that movie.
Never
That-
seen it.
Yeah.
Like, if you get a chance, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, it has nothing. It's interesting movie.
Anyway, we did RoboCop. This one I'm interested to hear from you guys because I saw the first one. I enjoyed it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Michael Bay Turtles.
I've tried to watch it twice, and I nothing. I haven't
I will
been able
say
to get
he
into
did
it.
a better job with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles than he did with Transformers.
I kind of wanted
technically
to see,
he didn't direct it, but he was just.
I kind of wanted to see what I heard the original vision was, where like they were supposed to be from space, because it wasn't that like what the comic book was supposed to be. Was like they were from space.
No, that was because remember the Turtles and Daredevil are connected because the goo or whatever
They share the same origin
that
story.
blinds Daredevil.
Well, Turtles were meant as a riff on Daredevil.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
why.
Yeah.
That's why Daredevil fights the hand.
Mm-hmm.
Turtles fight the foot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Daredevil,
Stick and
Splinter.
Splinter.
Yep, Stick and Splinter.
Oh, okay.
But there is an alien. When they're an alien.
There's Krang,
No, yeah.
Dimension Z.
I mean, there's a
No,
ton
it's
of
Dimension
aliens
X, isn't it?
in the Turtles.
Oh, well, I just thought maybe I don't know what I was reading, but like in the
I
first
do
one,
think I remember, like, I think when they was talking about remaking this Michael Bay Turtles, he was going to make them aliens from space.
yeah, like the bad guy in the first Turtles was supposed to be Shredder, and
He
then
he was Shredder.
they're like no, and then like they threw in like some random Shredder. I thought like they just threw that in. At the
Oh
end.
no, the bank teller from The Dark Knight.
Yeah,
he was a fake because in the sequel, like he wasn't a Rokosaki, right?
no.
Or is that Splinter?
No, Rokusaki is
Shredder.
Shredder, but yeah, I don't think they called him a Rokusaki in the first.
He had like
movie.
some anglicized version of it. It was like Eric something or other.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, I tried, but I mean, I saw the 90s. Was it the 90s or was it the 80s?
1990.
The
Yeah, the early
Turtles.
90s.
I mean, I like those, but I also watched those growing up. I mean, it didn't really draw me into it.
It surprised me the staying powers Ninja Turtles have, because they have been rebooted, like, how many times? Like 15?
And they're getting and Seth Rogen's getting ready to do it
So-
again.
My thing on that one is like the plot lines were fine, but you have to make the Turtles look good.
I was getting ready to say it's
And-
what you thought of the design. Of
Yeah, the Turtles looked bad. Like the '90s Turtles looked better, fought better than our updated, Turtles 25 years later or something like that. Like you have to make your main characters look good, act good, and
What about that rap they had in the elevator?
that was fine. I
Had
didn't
a
mind
rap
that.
in the elevator?
Yeah, they all did like stomp.
They had a nervous
They
kick
didn't
energy.
do.
They
They
tried to get
didn't do
out.
like the Go Ninja Go.
No.
No,
Oh.
but that was perfect. Like that to me was absolutely a Turtles thing that they would do, because again, you got to focus on the teenage part, So that was perfect. I just think if you had updated the design, you would have had an easier break-in, and if you made them less CG, like if you made them a little bit more practical with the CG overlay, then that movie could have been great.
Yeah,
Well,
I
as
didn't like the fact that they was 9 to 10 feet tall, it seemed. Like, that seems a little overkill.
Yeah, and Raph looked awful. Like he looked worse of all of them, and because he was like this big hulking, brute-looking turtle, and it just
Speaking
looked
of,
terrible.
did you guys read Last Ronin?
No,
Okay.
I have not.
No.
I
Not
know.
for any reason other than I haven't read it.
I
Okay.
called what happened because we were talking about it. But
Whippity doo.
I
All right, moving on. Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I did hear an interesting rumor, like on stuff that each of the weapons that each turtles use is just an aspect Splinter gave them to teach them more about themselves. Like Raph is given the size, but apparently those are only supposed to be used in self-defense, so not in anger, and that's his one flaw is he's angry. Like Michelangelo's get the nunchucks and whatnot, and that's supposed to be like, oh, that's because he's crazy. No, it takes very precise control to use those.
Mm-hmm.
And like
he's actually the best fighter out of all of them. He just doesn't.
Right.
That's why he's the last front.
And then Leonardo is the only one with an actual bladed weapon, and he's the leader, but he's got the weapon that can inflict the most harm to show him that he is in charge. He needs to make direct actions.
Do you know they weren't
What about Donnie?
He's given a simple stick is to embrace his creativity with the stick to what can you do with the stick? It is just a stick. What do you do with a stick? What else can you do with the stick?
What are you gonna hit me with it?
Well, fine.
Do you know that overseas they're not called ninjas?
What are they called?
Teenage hero, mutant hero. They're not, but they weren't allowed to be called ninjas, and something to do with nunchucks. Like they were. It was after the video nasties, but during the Ridge hype of Turtles, they weren't called ninjas because ninjas were considered bad for kids or whatever. I want to say they were called Teenage Mutant Heroes or something, and something to do with nunchucks because they were too readily available. So
yeah, you could buy nunchucks at your every corner grocery store. Back in the 90s.
Well, hell, you
Cereal aisle nunchuck.
Well, it's a farming implement.
Nunchucks?
Yeah, it's a farming implement.
Most weapons are bred from farming implements.
I mean,
well, no, okay. Now I'm thinking, I think I've seen what you're talking about.
Grim
There's like
Reaper
a
used to work on a
tool
farm all the time.
That's more of like a stick with a nunchuck end.
well, the thing that Scorpion throws, isn't that just the thing that
kunai?
That's a kunai.
Isn't that thing they use for planting seeds?
Yeah, that's what he uses in the Mortal Kombat reboot.
Anyway, all right.
Back on topic.
I do. Yeah,
thank you.
Uh-huh. I do want to bring this up because
good segue.
I do want to bring this up because talking about reboots, this movie has tried so hard to reboot, hard, soft. It's tried many times, and it just can't seem to. And honestly, I only like one movie of it. It's the Terminator series.
I don't think Terminator has ever reboot. They always acknowledge.
Are you buying into the time travel crap that they all?
The movie is about fucking time travel.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I think we're past the minute now. It is sending a robot back through time to kill John Connor.
We have not passed the minute yet, Cody. We just lost all monetary form.
Yeah,
but
all 40 cents that we've made.
Salvation is a reboot on. You don't. I guess Salvation would, but see, they all changed the idea of Judgment Day. They all changed the idea of what Skynet is and wants. And Genesis does it, and Dark Fate.
Genesis
does it. Why do they spell it that way? Is that like a Latin?
I have no idea. I think
they wanted to use Genesis.
They
without
threw in a
using
Y
Genesis.
everywhere.
Oh, okay.
It's the hipster thing. You should know.
It's cool. It's hip. It's retro. Yeah.
Yeah, but like every Terminator movie recognizes the previous one as canon. I mean, even the most recent one that came out, what was that? Salvation, Dark Fate. Dark Fate goes all the way back to the first one and recognizes
second one.
No, they recognize well. If you recognize the second one as canon, then the first one's canon because it's the same Terminator.
I see what you're saying. I thought you meant. Well,
But
then
then
the
third from Dark Fate, then the third one wouldn't be canon because they killed John Connor.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's because John Connor went and time traveled. I mean, when you talk about time travel movies, it's so
it makes my
have you
heard
the theory that what's his face, Michael Bihn's character,
Kyle Reese, one of the most important characters in the franchise.
Have you heard the theory that Kyle Reese isn't John Connor's son? That's why there's no paradox, because in the original Terminator, you see. Oh Oh my god, my mind's going blank.
Sarah Connor.
Thank you. You see Sarah Connor getting a phone call from a past date or whatever. So the idea is that dude knocked her up, and it's not actually Kyle. Like, she was pregnant already before Kyle Reese and her got down, which is why there's no paradox.
Well, yeah, but they never really established any paradox rules for Terminator. They just kind of let it go wild and go, well, is there a paradox here? We don't know how we're going to handle it. Let's time travel it.
So you don't think Genesis, Dark Fate, Salvation isn't a reboot?
No, I think it's a continuation of the series. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think they're good movies, but I think they're a continuation of the storyline that they established in the first Terminator movie.
Why don't you think those? Why don't you think they can't get? Because everyone wants one, but then no one. It's like
because fans suck.
Yeah, fans. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Honestly, I don't think we can do a reboot of Terminator until Arnold Schwarzenegger's dead.
That's fair.
But then we'll just because
everybody wants that cheeky nod where he's either CGI'd or we got an old man Schwarzenegger.
But we'll Peter Cushing him.
But that, and I mean, this is unrelated, but I mean, whenever they make a Terminator movie, they spoil everything in the trailer.
That's 100% true.
Salvation, they spoiled it because they showed Sam Worthington was a Terminator. What was it? Genesis, they showed that John Connor became a part of Skynet.
Yeah.
I was so mad about that reveal in that trailer. That's such a good reveal to do mid-movie. Yeah. And they spoil it in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I don't know what happened in Dark Fate, but I mean, hell, they probably
shot John Connor. They spoiled that in the trailer.
Oh, they did?
Well, didn't they, like, Dark Fate also had, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's original Terminator T-1800 or whatever it is.
T-800.
Yeah, T-800. He, like, finds humanity and marries a girl, and does he get her pregnant too in that movie? Like, am I remembering that correctly?
That brings me back to the old Mallrats argument. Doesn't he split her in half?
Right,
blow his uterus out?
Yeah, like, he's how many
uterus out? Do you need an anatomy lesson here?
I don't mean to get political, but it's 2022. Guys can have uteruses.
Let's look at this poster.
But yeah, I mean, like, how many tons is that metal and like interior skeleton? And he's just sitting on sofas and laying on bed, and I hope to God he was on top at some point. Like, I mean, come on.
It's titanium, very lightweight. Well, if you're going to go that way, you can't send inorganic matter back in time. But then how is he back in time anyway? Because it's just inorganic matter wrapped in
skin. Yeah, so it bypasses it.
Well, it's inorganic skin.
No, it's live skin.
Is it live skin?
Because he gets old in Jim.
Oh, that's right. It is live skin. Never mind. Yeah. Right, inorganic. Yes. So you're right. Like, how does the skeleton go back?
Yeah,
because it's covered by organic.
So could have Reese brought a gun back if he used the old prison pocket?
I mean, it's a movie I'd want.
I have seen that movie.
Okay. Back on topic.
Yeah.
So in that movie, did it come back?
Something came.
What about the Green Hornet?
Oh yeah, that was
that was terrible.
Save that. Save Star Trek. Save your Green Hornet.
I loved the Black Beauty.
The car was sweet.
Yes,
but they cut the car in half, and it drives around.
It has front wheel drive.
Still,
come on.
It has front wheel drive.
I never saw the original series, so I can't.
The original series. Save the Green Hornet. Save the Green Hornet. All right, let's go to TV real quick. We're running out of time.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's great.
Mortal Kombat.
I mean,
definitely goes in the good column.
A Mortal Kombat nerd because I didn't even know there was a storyline, to be quite honest. I thought it was just your fighting game with a loose structure. I mean, I don't know. I liked the movie, but I also liked.
They didn't really for Mortal Kombat. They didn't do a Mortal Kombat. It was just get the team together.
That's true. There was no tournament, which is kind of like the big part of the Mortal Kombat series.
Well, I didn't see the new movie, but did they have the song?
No.
They didn't have it. They didn't have the song.
They nodded to it.
Yeah, they did in the Sub-Zero Scorpion fight.
So they did the.
I thought they did.
I don't think it's not exactly. They nod to it.
Okay. I don't think they pounded it like it was a fucking rave, but I think it was there.
Yeah, they classed it up a little bit. My question is, why did you have to make a new character for the show? Like, I'm fine with him existing,
Because
but he has such a huge roster.
He's the audience. You can't take like someone like Johnny Cage and be like, hey, we're doing a Mortal Kombat, we're going to do this, and that. Because people be like, he's not an idiot, he knows what's going on. So they just make another character that they can shove their hate onto rather than, you know.
Yeah. So he was the obligatory like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Mortal Kombat.
They can exposition dump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's sort of like what it was used for, which was kind of sad. Because you could have used, like, any of the characters in that movie for that. Because not all of them knew about it. Yeah. Like Kano, who was the best character in that entire movie, could have easily been your exposition dump character.
The only thing I didn't like was how they got their power. I don't know how they could have done it. I just didn't. I was like, okay.
I like the Kung Lao entrance.
That was cool.
Was sweet.
That was cool. Spoiler: he don't make it.
Thanks, Cody, who is openly established he hasn't seen the movie yet.
Shit, I'm so bad at this.
Sorry, it wasn't make or break for me. I'd see it eventually, but I'm old school Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yeah, those two great movies, but for different reasons.
Well, okay.
They're popcorn.
I'm glad you said that. All right, let's go on to TV. I can't say which ones are bad or good because I went to different websites and they said one would be in the good section on one website, one would be on the bad. So I'm just going to name them off, throw in your all's 2 cents. Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, fantastic until you get to the last season.
Never seen it.
Is Starbuck Katie Sackhoff?
Yes, and she does a fantastic job as that character. She is...
Who's the one that's always in a dress?
Oh, he's in a dress.
Yeah.
The blonde?
Yeah.
That's Caprica 6.
Is she a toaster or whatever they call it?
Cylon.
Yes, she is a human model Cylon.
Gotcha.
Do they have the... I mean, I know what the old Cylons look like. Do they update it for the new one?
Yeah, they have an up. I actually have an action figure.
Or is it like the same?
Cylon.
Is it is like the new Cylon? Because the old one has like the kit red laser thing that moves back and forth. I didn't know if...
Yeah, this is the model Cylon. This is the
toaster
head
They kept
Cylon.
the helmet? Oh,
yeah.
See, that's...
Yeah, the only thing that's different than that is the red sash. So the red sash denotes a good Cylon versus an evil Cylon.
Huh.
So.
Neat.
All right, what about Doctor Who?
That's a revival. It's not a reboot.
You wouldn't say that Eccleston was a reboot because how long
It's
they've
a
been
revival.
How long they've been off the air?
Since the 83, I believe. So like 20.
And
it's because it calls back.
And they had past Doctors from before it went off the air, right?
But accepts the entire series as canon.
They just did.
But didn't the
Jodie
original?
Whittaker's,
But didn't the original Doctor? Wasn't it like Bill Nye the Science Guy type show?
Yeah, I mean it was a kid show. The Doctor would travel to the future, and it would be a science, learning show.
But so the
and they
show
would
has
travel
changed.
to the past.
So the show has changed.
But the canon, because let's be honest, Doctor Who canon is like let's just throw shit at a dartboard because they can do that. But I mean, the plot is still there. Like
so, it's a revival.
It's a revival. It is not a reboot.
All right. Okay. What about the U.S. Office?
That's a remake.
That's a remake.
I think it's a remake.
How do you classify that as? Oh, because it's
completely different than the UK Office. There's
Are you playing with your
no,
toys
there
right
is.
now?
I'm trying to put it back.
There is similarities. There's characters the same, different locations, and then after a certain point, it diverges.
So it'd be like Ghosts. Because
Ghost is not a reboot?
No, Ghost is a remake of the British Ghost.
I know.
Like the one with Patrick Swayze?
No, the
that's
TV show.
Ghost.
Oh.
Ghost is hilarious. You should watch it. It's on Paramount Plus.
Ghost.
Ghosts.
With an S.
Ghosts.
Ghosts.
Like a snake.
I'd love to see the audio capture of us hissing into the microphone.
Okay. All right. What about Beverly Hills 90210?
Never saw.
Never. Nope.
Yeah, I have no idea. You have to ask my sister about that.
Yeah, skip.
All right. MacGyver.
Nope. Didn't see it.
That's
Angus MacGyver.
New canon on that, right?
Oh, is he like the son or something?
I don't know.
Baby MacGyver?
I have no clue.
I have no clue. I
know
didn't
that
see either one.
So we're not TV people. Okay.
I know
Not
it's a
really.
younger
No,
one.
not those shows.
What about Arrested Development?
That was just a continuation, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that was
Net-
I guess would be a revival because they picked it
Yeah.
up for one season to finish it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Here's one I know you guys will have opinion on. Heroes Reborn.
Didn't watch it.
That's a continuation, and it sucked.
What you don't consider it a reboot?
Was Zachary
Absolutely
Levi any
not.
good?
No, they picked up where it left off.
Was Zachary Levi any good in that show?
Did
I
they
don't
ever
remember
save the
him in
cheerleader?
Reborn, no. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
was
because
in
he
Reborn.
takes HRG's spot.
Did they
That's
save
right.
the
It
cheerleader?
was fine.
I thought she died.
God, it's been so long since I've seen Reborn.
How did she die?
Will you quit playing with your toys?
She can die.
I fucked everything up trying to get the Cylon out.
She can
It's
die.
bothering me.
She died in the first series. She
Yeah, like,
got a piece of glass shoved into her brainstem.
Well, no, but she survived because in the very last episode of the season, she
Yeah.
jumps off the Ferris wheel.
I know, but I thought she died in Reborn.
Yeah, she's dead and reborn.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
They
Cody
have,
asked how
like-
she could die.
Like, it isn't her, like, power she heals from anything?
Yeah, except with her brain. Because, like, there's one scene where like, she has, like, a tree branch shoved into her brainstem.
So
And then
she's
they
dead
pull
as
it
long
out.
as you mess with her brain.
I believe so.
Yes, and then didn't the power sponge, what was his name, Nathan?
Peter Petrelli.
Peter, thank you. Didn't he...
His name was Power Sponge?
He was
Well,
basically
that was what
Parasite.
his power was.
I thought that was Spock. I thought he was the sponge.
No, well, he was, but he had to examine their brain, or that's how he did it. He would have to like see the inner workings of their brain. Like the person would have to die. Peter Petrelli, he just had to basically like be near them, and then he would absorb that ability,
Right,
And they could call it back.
Yeah, in the first one, he could just always do it, and then he shorted himself out after he had all of them.
Yeah.
And then he could only hold so many for so long.
I can't read your handwriting.
Season 1, good. Season 2 was a slow downhill slope, and then 3, it was just, hey, it's a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, because it was... They had 4, didn't they? Wasn't 4 the one with the freak show?
Yeah, with the circus.
Yeah,
That's
like,
American Horror Story.
Yeah, 4... that also fantastic show. But the first season was brilliant, and then steep decline down, and then Heroes Reborn might as well not even happened. It was so bad.
I was kind of pumped for it, but then I just never got around to watching it. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about Green Hornet? The next two sets. Let's talk about what are the qualities, or what for you. Like once again, it's subjective. What for you? You're watching something, and you're like, "Damn, they did this right," or no.
You gotta know the characters, and you gotta know the motivations, right? So when you're talking about like good kind of reboots, revivals, continuations, the Halloween series, this new trilogy that just came out that ignores everything past the first movie and kind of spins off the first one.
I don't know. Season of the Witch was probably the best movie ever. We should
It's
do
on my to-watch list. I
We should
haven't
do a
seen it yet.
podcast where we go through every single fucking Halloween movie.
In excruciating detail for 3 hours straight.
He was looking through the window. Do you know what that window represented?
That's a callback to our favorite episode of our old series.
I lost my voice after that episode.
You talked so much.
I lost my sanity after that episode. I was
Did you like that reboot?
I like the first two.
But is that a reboot?
It's
Is it
a revival. It'd be a
Is it?
revival, I think. Because
I got an answer for you at the end of this.
all right,
episode.
good. I would consider it a revival. So I like the first two definitely. I saw the third one. Third one kind of missed its mark, I feel like.
Okay.
Because I guess if you haven't seen it, spoiler, skip ahead 5 minutes or whatever. They kill, quote unquote, kill Mike Myers at the end of the second one, and in the third one,
you see him alive at the end of the second one.
right? They quote unquote kill him.
That means that they don't actually do it.
Sorry, the audience missed the finger air
Even
quotes
though
that Adam
he
did
said
not miss.
quote unquote.
Yeah. They kill him at the end of the second one, and in the third one, he's just like living below the town, cowering.
And the
Because
And then
he took
occasionally-
a brutal beating. Man.
Sure, and then occasionally murdering the hobo or someone who wandered into his little drain duct.
Yeah.
And there's this nerdy kid who gets picked on and beat up, and Michael takes him under his wing and teaches him how to be a new
How
murderer.
fucked up was it when that kid fell?
It was pretty messed up.
That
Yeah.
is out of a series where you get jaws ripped off and everything. That was probably the most brutal death. As a father, people, watching a kid hit the ground from 40 feet.
Yeah, I kept waiting for him to cut away on that.
Oh my god! You see him fall all the way down and hit the ground, and he bounces, and his blood. Oh my god!
Well,
It's
not
No,
gonna.
stop.
Brutal.
It is
Stop.
rough. It is
Stop.
rough.
Yeah. So 3, I feel like really missed the mark. But in the first 2, you get Laurie's mentality, you get Michael's mentality, you get the continuation of the storyline, and in those first 2, I think they really got the idea right.
Okay.
You got the PTSD from Laurie, you got the vengeance drive from her, and you got that same kind of persistent attitude from Michael. And in the third one, they missed the mark, I think. But in the first 2, I think they did great.
Okay, so that leads me to our. I guess it's a based on what's the phrase? You have to look at everything differently. There's no blanket answer. But are you more I don't really want them to take chances, because it seemed like they kind of took a chance. Let's try to do something different, and it didn't work out. Is it more like hit or miss? They took a chance. I give it to them for that, but that sucked.
So I don't mind them taking chances. So in the third movie, they took a chance with that, and I just think they did it wrong. Right? They humanized Michael too much, who was this person, right? Who was this bad guy, and this evil entity, and they made him a person, and I didn't care for that.
But
So
that's
I
what
think-
he originally was.
Yes, but he's also survived way more
he's-
than any person could ever have survived.
He's more like just a blank slate that you, as an audience member, project. When he stares at the camera, he's not giving an emotion. It's it's the music and everything swelling up, and then you're feeling fear sitting there, watching him just pin someone up to a wall with a butcher knife, and he's standing there, and you're projecting your emotions onto that William Shatner mask. That's what I'm assuming you're trying to say. He's not.
Yeah, he's this evil entity kind of persona. He's the shape, right? And in the third movie, he shows pain, he shows fear, which are things that Michael never shows. So I think if they were going to do that, that's fine if you want to pass the torch, because at this point you have done everything with Michael that could possibly be done.
He even did a Dragon Ball Z power up.
Yeah.
That was kind of weird.
Right? Yeah, they were kind of stretching the third movie, but I think if you're going to do it, you reintroduce Michael living in the tunnels underneath, and then there's a fight sequence between him and the new kid, and Michael realizes, hey, this new kid's like me. So I think the appropriate thing there to have done, rather than keep Michael through the rest of the movie, is pass the knife, pass the mask, kill Michael in Act 2, and then have this kind of lull where everyone's like, oh, everything's fine, we're safe, and then this kid takes over. But that's not how the movie's kind of set up.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with them taking chances, but you've got to find it and execute it correctly in the theme of the characters and theme of the storyline you're trying to present.
I would have been if that was if they tried doing that storyline in 2018, the soft reboot or whatever you want to call it, that would have sucked. But as a watching all three of them together, I'm okay. It would have been better as a middle story, if you had another movie to go.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll have another Halloween movie that picks up. But
here's the thing: they have to. The guy that owns the rights.
But Halloween ends.
No, they have to. Mustafa Aked, the guy. Oh, it's his son, because Mustafa died in one of the bombings.
He died in The Lion King.
Hilarious. he was actually a smart businessman. In the contract, you cannot kill Mike Myers. If you do a Halloween, you are legally, contractually obligated to keep him alive.
Didn't they feed him into a wood chipper at the end of it?
oh yeah, he's super dead at the end of Halloween.
But that's the thing. I guarantee you.
Oh, they took his mask and then they put it on someone else.
You laugh, but that's how he survived in H2O.
I remember the episode.
And yes, absolutely, I think that is how you keep the franchise going.
Or they'll just reboot it. Getting us back. Anyway, something. Me and Tyler have had this discussion, but I'm a big Motu fan.
I'm sorry, who?
He-Man.
Oh, okay.
Masters of the
yeah.
Universe?
I wanted
Okay,
to
gotcha.
ask you, what did you think about the Kevin Spacey?
Smith.
Kevin
David-
Spacey.
My apologies. The Kevin Smith continuation of those on Netflix.
That's what I was getting ready to talk about. I was doing bad reboots. I don't want to get into the
That's a
whole...
revival.
But is it? It's not. I know the series, and that's not a continuation. He disregards so much lore.
But
It's not a continuation at all.
you're 100% sure of that.
Because he goes to Primus in the New Adventures of He-Man.
But is it a revival from the Orig series?
No, because in the Orig series, New Adventures is a direct continuation of the Orig
So
series.
then how are you sure it's not just like a timeline split?
Because it's not.
I mean, you can't do a revival off of just one aspect of it.
No, because of, like I just said on my... Let me get my second page here. This is why I numbered them.
Oh, God.
Revival, a continuation of the same story set after the events of the story audiences are familiar with, period.
But what if they're only familiar with the original?
Then they're not
Filmation.
diehard fans.
It said
So-
audience. It didn't say diehard fans.
I have lost track of this argument. Are you saying it is a revival or isn't a revival?
No, I'm saying it's not. It's a whole new thing, and
Okay.
I go back and forth on Kevin Smith.
I just like to.
What I'm
fucking piss
saying
them
is,
off.
Well, it's
I
always-
really don't care.
I mean,
either way.
that's the best part of the podcast.
I really don't
pissing
care
Adam
either
off.
way.
what I'm getting at, bypassing all the SJW bullshit. I don't want to get into that crap. But if you're going to reboot something, and you need to have respect for the property. I'm not saying you have to be, and usually for the most part, it's not good to be a diehard fan of something and reboot it.
Okay.
But if you're going to reboot something, like they handled that with so much disrespect for the property, for the lore, and for the fans, that it has beyond pissed me off.
Really?
Because you got it
I know you guys can't see this audience right now, but his hands are shaking and clenched in rage.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay.
It's not shaped in rage. It's,
Well, I guess to get into I guess you got to get into the SJW thing. Turning King Grayskull black doesn't make any sense within the lore, because He-Man is actually Grayskull. Prince Adam doesn't like Hulk out and get bigger. He's actually Grayskull. King Grayskull is going into Adam
Yeah, he is.
and becoming He-Man. So having a black ancestor, it doesn't make sense within the lore. And everyone's like, oh, you gotta have more black characters. You can't just have Champ Clamp because he's one. They're making fun of people who say, well, we got black characters. We got Champ Clamp. Exactly. I wanted to hear more about Champ Clamp.
Hey, he was in there for like 45, 50 seconds.
Yeah, I'm like, why can't we expand on that? If you want to bring diversity, awesome, great. But they're like, oh yeah, you're just mad because they, diversity, they got Champ. Yeah, I want to hear Champ Clamp, man. He came in so late in the original Filmation thing that he's not even in. He was so late in the toy line that he wasn't even in the Filmation show. I want to hear Champ Clamp, dude.
Instead of changing characters that already have set backgrounds and whatnot, you're wanting them to actually continue with the story of people they actually did have.
Yeah, and there's no I understand the diversity thing, whatever. I can even get past Grayskull being black. It didn't offend me that he was black. It just, to me, it was like, that doesn't make sense.
well, isn't Adam traditionally very fair-skinned blonde,
Yeah.
right? So if you have an African American ancestor, that kind of mess with that genetics. I think there are
how
other
far are we
characters-
talking about? Well,
Well,
if we're
I
talking
don't
about
know. I'm
his
not a
great
He-Man.
grandfather, of course there's going to be some carrying over.
No,
we're
we're-
talking about thousands of years.
Yeah,
it's probably going to.
We're talking like it'd be like the first people in the Fertile Crescent, and then us. It'd be like that far back.
Oh, well, then, never mind then.
But anyway,
I thought it was more direct lineage.
no. So anyway, well, I don't think they're related at all. It's just when he summons.
Oh, then why are you complaining? Because it's a spirit thing.
But why?
And it's only skin deep. We're all the same inside, Adam.
Oh, Jesus.
So are you saying?
We're
Are you
all
saying-
sons of God.
You're saying by this logic that He-Man Adam should have a more drastic skin tone change.
Yeah, when Jason Blood summons the demon Etrigan, why doesn't he just look like? I mean, he changes. He doesn't.
Well, I think his body's okay. He's kind of got us there because his physiology is changing. Same with He-Man and Adam.
Well, it depends on how much your physiology is changing, right?
Well, you're turning into a string being into the world's strongest man. That's a lot of change.
The most powerful man in the universe. Excuse me. Whoa.
I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry. I don't remember Adam being a string bean.
In the film,
I mean, he's not fucking ripped, but he's not a string bean.
Thank you, man. I work out. No, it's true. In the Filmation show, to save, because it was cheap animation, Adam, it did look like He-Man, but the idea was that anyway.
But he was still strong. He was still a strong man as Adam.
So anyway, I was like, all right, whatever.
This is all going in Adam's head, and he's just like, Daniel's calling me strong.
So another thing that I felt like they completely staying with the idea of reboots is not having respect for the property is Teela. If I had no problem with Teela being the star of the show. Teela has always been hard-headed. She's always never needed He-Man, never needed Adam. Teela was always a warrior and always a badass. They completely disrespected that character and turned her into a whiny
bitch.
Thank you. Like everyone's complaining about the female being the star. I have no problem with it because Teela's an awesome character, but they ruined that character. They had no. The point is, if you're going to do a reboot, you don't have to be a fan, but you have to have knowledge and respect, not only for the property you're doing, but for the audience, because you can. And they did it. I don't know if Kevin Smith did it, but a lot of the writers did it. They went on Twitter and basically just made fun of the fans. And then they're like, well, no one's watching the show. You just fucking made fun of us. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to give you money?
Because we're nerds and we like stuff.
I mean, you make a good point, but I think you're right. I think if you're going to reboot a thing, you have to be faithful to the concepts, right? So I think we can all agree one of the worst reboots ever was the Fantastic Four reboot from, what was that, 2008?
Yeah.
With Gimp Simp Doom?
Yes. Where Dr. Doom was
No, you go back and tell me that is not a Gimp suit.
Yeah, Gimp suit and nerdy
it was a trash bag. They
hacker douchebag.
Yeah.
And you don't respect any of the characters. And I think I've been on recording about this movie before. It feels like they lost their budget halfway through the movie. Because the first half of the movie, with the exception of the Dr. Doom scenes, is fantastic. It's almost great from Ultimate Fantastic Four #1, the first volume. It's very faithful to the Ultimate Fantastic Four universe. And then at the halfway point, it's like they ran out of money and just rushed everything after they get their powers. And everything after that's absolutely dog shit.
It somehow gets boring, more boring after they get their powers.
Yeah, it's awful. But I was a huge fan of the movie up until the halfway point because other than Doctor Doom being done wrong, which we have never done Doctor Doom correctly,
and he's just a god that just destroys everyone, and then
I will say
and then gets beaten by the Fantastic
exactly.
Four.
That's ridiculous.
Or Chris Evans, Fantastic Four. That Doctor Doom, I could get behind. I enjoyed that guy.
He was
Get
terrible.
the fuck out
No,
of
I
this
enjoyed him.
He got his skin turned to metal and had lightning powers out of his fingertips.
Doctor Doom has lightning stuff.
Not from a natural power. He's a sorcerer.
I will say this.
No, isn't he like science magic?
Yeah, he's like a breed of both of them. But his suit is a suit. He has a minor scar on his face, and he's so vain that he wears that minor.
But that's not canon, though. That's just a theory, right?
No, that's canon in 616.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still like our Doctor Doom, where we made it as a political movie, where you don't find out that he's Doctor Doom until the very last scene.
That was a fantastic movie.
That would have been. I would give tens of dollars to watch Disney if they had the balls to do that.
You bringing Fantastic Four up brings another thing of what kind of irks me about reboots, because I I kind of just accept everything now because, like I was telling Tyler when we worked together, like there's just so much hate that like I kind of hate being a fan of anything anymore because it's like you go on YouTube or anything and all it is just hate.
You can't like anything.
So I try not to hate. But I do have stuff that I dislike. But going to the Fantastic Four thing, I think like let's reboot this. Okay, origin story. You want to try something? Not origin story. Well, why don't we try not origin story? It's like that's like it's like can we try not origin story?
Well, see, I think that's why Tom Holland's Spider-Man worked because they didn't need an origin story. It was just like, hey, here's Spider-Man,
and we're seeing that in a lot of the MCU.
Well, but we're also doing it like, okay, where we don't have an origin story for some of these guys coming out now, where you just get straight into the action and like, but they're not known well enough to understand who the hell these guys are.
Well, like,
when's the MCU done that?
Shang-Chi. Now
his was an origin movie.
Oh wait.
Well, what I guess I would be okay with an origin story if you pulled like a C tier character out of your butt and made a movie like
Shang-Chi.
Like Shang-Chi, Black Adam. But like the new Batman, it wasn't an origin story.
No.
I mean, did we even see the pearls fly in that movie?
No, I don't think we discussed that at all. So I think, with these big established characters, you don't need an origin story. Batman, Spider-Man, everyone who even isn't a comic book fan
do we
knows
need
the
to see
storyline of
Krypton again?
yes. I like watching him blow up.
That's fair. I do enjoy.
Some people just want to watch the world blow up.
Man.
But that is one thing that, as far as reboots go, I just feel like that's such a cop out. Like I know it's not about the art. It's about Hollywood as a business. But it's just like, should we? This one character has millions of fans, and we should pay respect. No, fuck it. I can tell you how we can get $1 billion. Let's do an origin story. Well, can we at least make it kind of edgy? Nah, let's just paint by numbers. I don't.
DC is real bad about that. Because movie 1, origin story. Movie 2, they lose their powers. It's every single time.
Or they make a sequel to a character and just put Batman in it.
Yeah, that too. Because you've got
Superman. Superman 2.
Yeah. You've got Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, the first one's origin story. Wonder Woman 2 loses her powers.
Okay.
Now Shazam.
I'm gonna fight you on
origin
this.
story. No. They just saw the trailer for Shazam 2. Guess what? He loses his powers.
Okay. Marvel fanboy, I'm looking at you got nothing but Marvel comic books on the thing there.
That's because that's the Marvel shelf. The DC's over here.
I don't know. But
I see some idea up here.
Marvel does this origin story. The final boss is just a color swap of the hero.
100% true. Hate it.
And there's a blue light in the sky somewhere in all of these fucking movies.
Yeah,
that's not just Marvel. DC does that too.
Where?
Superman, you fight Zod.
Yes.
Fuck.
No, we got a dubstep machine. That's what that is.
Robin Pattinson's Batman was very much just an evil detective version, which was Riddler. Like, that was very much an evil Batman, in my opinion. It wasn't Owlman, but it was pretty similar.
Alright.
As similar as Iron Man and Ironmonger were.
No.
I will agree that Marvel's bad about that. Movie 1 has to be an anti-version of the first hero. Because they're all like that. Iron Man had Ironmonger. Your biggest deviation is Captain America Red Skull.
Yeah.
That's probably your biggest of the deviations.
But even then, they're still both technically super soldiers.
Yeah. You've got Loki and Thor.
Black Panther and
Killmonger. You've got Shang-Chi and the evil Shang-Chi.
Mandarin.
Thank you.
Hey,
I couldn't remember the name of the villain.
Did they hint at Fing Fang Foom?
I think so. I think they hinted, but they didn't really come out and say anything about
Hulk and the Abomination.
Black Widow and Taskmaster. All of the movies, their first one, they have to fight an evil version of themselves.
Yellow Jacket.
Ant-Man and a Wild Jacket, yes. So, yes, that is absolutely legit criticism for Marvel. 100%.
Well, all right. We're getting long in the tooth here, but real quick.
As usual.
Real quick. How would, speaking of reboots, with Ezra Miller doing what he's doing, they spent $18 million on Batgirl and just like throwing it in the closet. How could Can we right now, because DC's listening, give DC an idea to reboot within, and don't say, I guess Flashpoint's going to be the obvious one.
That's the only way you're going to be able to do it.
There's no way we can reboot the DC.
You have the very opening scene it's black, you have a white light, and it's the Flash tearing through space and time, and then you just completely reset everything. I mean, as much as I would love to see more Snyderverse stuff, I like Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I didn't like Wonder Woman 1984, but I like Gal Gadot. I love Henry Cavill.
I like Gal Gadot.
Black Adam's got potential.
Yeah, Black Adam's great.
I want to see more Shazam.
Well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What if we considered... Is it still considered the Snyderverse since most of these characters are spawning off what he started?
No. The Spider-Verse and the Snyderverse ended with Snyder's Justice League, which is considered non-canon.
But Aquaman is still... I mean, because Aquaman's going, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, that's not considered still part of...
I don't think it's considered Snyderverse
anymore. I don't think they're even...
Right, but I know it's not called Snyderverse anymore, but they're still part of that.
But all their standalone movies, I don't think they're interconnected
no,
in a way.
But what I'm saying... Yeah, they are. Aquaman takes place after Justice League. Because I think there's mention, Mara talks to him about...
I thought it takes place before, because that's how he gets the suit for the movie.
No, because Mara was talking... No, because he wears...
I'm going to be honest with you guys, and don't get mad at me. I haven't seen either of the Justice Leagues, because of how much of a mess it is in
You
DC.
were supposed to watch
Didn't we go to the theater to see the first one?
I did not.
You were supposed to watch the first Justice League, because we talked about it.
No. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, and don't lynch me. I have not seen Justice League, the Snyder Cut, Aquaman, either one of the Wonder Womans.
So you're the reason why the DCEU is failing.
Did you like the... Real quick, before I get to my thing, did you like the Snyder Cut?
It was better than the original, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Well, the only reason people think it's good is because we had such a shit show with the first cut.
If
the Snyderverse came out first, no one would think it was a good movie. Except for maybe someone who liked Batman vs. Superman. Then that person might think Snyder Cut was good.
I didn't love Batman vs. Superman, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
there's a really cool Jeep in it. Anyway, okay. Do you with like Quantum Mania and time travel and all this shit? Do you think audiences would be I don't want to say smart enough, but would be non-comic booky fans? Because everyone's kind of a comic book fan at this point in time. Can we do like an Earth 2 film series, an Earth 1?
No,
that's pretty much what. I mean,
you couldn't like because there are fans. There are fans of these characters, and I wouldn't like. I like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. What if that's my phone going off?
Yeah, who didn't put their phone on silent? Come on now.
What if we continue those stories? Because I kind of like Batfleck.
Yeah, I love Batfleck. The casting for DC is fine,
but we classify that as Earth 2 and let Affleck go. I'm hurrying. Let Affleck,
but I don't think
let Affleck do his art pieces that he wants to do. He can come back every now and then and do an Earth 2 picture.
But your common moviegoer can't wrap their brain around.
But
that.
what I'm saying, DC can do it, and then instead of the Avengers movie, they have the Crisis movie.
They already did that in the Arrowverse.
And I was going to bring that up. They did the Crisis in the Arrowverse, but that would be how I would reboot the DCEU. Is continue on with the Crisis storyline. Now, I haven't seen the Crisis in the Arrowverse, but there have been plenty of Crises that have been big problems. You could just rehash a different storyline. Mm-hmm. If you get literally everybody in that movie, you can do it correctly. And I think you start with the white light Flash going through time, but you could cut Ezra out right then and there. You see him from the back, you never see his face, Zoom comes in, catches him, breaks his neck, kills him. And then you've established what the movie's going to be. It's going to be quick and brutal, and you never have to deal with Ezra Miller again.
Casting for what's his name? Eobard Thrawn?
Eobard.
Michael Fassbender.
We already have an Eobard Thrawn. You used the one from the CW universe.
No, not Ed.
He is... No. Not... That's a disguise.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to, if you're going to do this, you have to do it entirely, and you have to establish the CW universe. So you have to bring in Gustafson as Flash.
But
you
they
have to bring in
technically
their
already did
Flash,
that
their
because
Zoom.
Miller was in the show.
In a deleted scene.
No,
No, he
it
was in
aired.
He was?
Yeah, he was in it. He met. I mean, it was like a 30-second snippet, but the problem is Eobard Thawne is now dead in the Arrowverse.
Oh, okay. Well, then you get Michael Fassbender to do it. That's fine. But you also have like Zoom, Professor Zoom, Reverse Flash.
Mm-hmm.
You use any of those characters
Because they canceled. He died in Legends of Tomorrow, and they canceled.
Get Andy Serkis to play Gorilla Grodd.
They already have someone playing Gorilla Grodd.
Yeah, but I think you just have to grab everyone. You have to grab Robert Pattinson. You have to grab Joaquin Phoenix. You have to grab Affleck, and if you can get Clooney or Kilmer to join,
I
Keaton.
still think we leave
Kilmer's
Joaquin
out. He
Phoenix
can't talk
and
anymore,
Patterson's
I think.
in their
No.
own universe.
No, I think you
leave them in their own universe. They clash too much with a combined universe.
Yes, but you don't have to do anything big. You could show Joaquin Phoenix sitting in a prison cell
Dancing.
See, now
and
that's
being like,
that's what they did at the start of Crisis in the Arrowverse. I mean, they literally had Earth 66, and it was Burt Ward's Robin walking down the street, and he literally said, "Holy red skies," and then that was it. That was the whole connection.
yeah. So you could do small things like that, just so you can establish that all these things are canon, that all these things exist, and we recognize it in one big multiverse, and then you end it. You're killing all the CW shows anyway, so kill all the CW shows.
Are they killing CW, the channel itself?
They're not killing the channel, but I think all the shows
Because
are
they're
ending.
killing HBO Max, aren't they?
No, I don't think
Well,
so.
they're canceling a lot of stuff from HBO Max because there's too many streaming platforms for everybody to. Because I know what I do, like, oh, there's that one show I know what's on there. Okay, I'll pick it up for a month, and basically I'm renting that season, and then I let it go.
The last I've heard is that the CW is going to go away because they don't have anything anymore. They're getting rid of. I think the only show left on there from the Arrowverse is maybe Superman and Lois and the Flash. And in my opinion, the Flash hasn't been good since like season 4 or 5.
I stopped watching Flash a long time ago, but they said that this is the last season of Superman.
Speaking
Lois.
of fighting color swaps, isn't that his bread and butter on that show?
Oh yeah, that show is just a different speedster every season.
Every single season, it's Barry. You have to run fast. I can't.
Okay,
Barry, run faster. Okay, I can.
is canceling Nancy Drew, Stargirl.
I did.
Oh, yeah.
I did like Stargirl.
I haven't seen Stargirl yet.
Yeah, they have canceled
I like
Batman,
the-
Charm,
I like the back-
Dynasty,
I like
In
the
the Dark,
backstory.
Legacy.
Batwoman.
I like the
Batwoman,
backstory
my apologies.
for how Jeff Johns came up with Stargirl.
Legacies, Legend of the Hidden
That was pretty
Temple,
good.
Legends of Tomorrow,
Wait,
Nancy
Legends
Drew.
of the Hidden Temple. That
Yeah,
was an old Nickelodeon game show. That was a great game show.
yeah, they canceled it.
They revived
It
it.
was so good.
They made a movie. It wasn't
That's
that
a
great.
revival.
It was a game
just
show.
said.
Like the whole point was like to win prizes. Like, how do you turn that into a regular show?
They turned it into a movie.
How do you turn that
You-
into a movie? It's-
They go to.
Indiana Jones goes to that temple and there's that guy that's reaching into your heart. And he goes,
Kalima.
Yeah. Is that the movie you're talking about?
No,
Fuck.
they go to. It's a
Lord
a TV
Croft
show.
sneaks in.
Shut
Is
up!
that the one you're talking about?
If this wasn't Daniel's house, I'd throw this.
Christian
tomato.
Bale, Temple of the Sun. Is that the one you're talking about? Or is that Bruce
It's
Willis?
Empire of the Sun.
and yes, that was Bruce Willis. Damn. So wrong on every account.
My joke ran
That's
its
it.
course. Anyway, go ahead. I'll shut up.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't remember where we're at. Where are we at on the episode even?
We're right.
4 hours in.
We're wrapping up. We're wrapping
Our
up.
one fan is asleep.
We're approaching our
Sorry,
time.
Mom.
We're approaching our time. Do you guys reboots, requels? You wanted to know about Star Wars, Star Trek.
Star Trek.
I wanted to know about Green Hornet. But
There's
forget
this-
all about me.
We talked about Green
There's
Hornet
this-
for like 4 seconds.
No, it was what goes wrong. I hate you guys. But there's this new thing now. Like there's too many fucking phrases. Like Halloween is considered a reboot-quel.
Okay. All right.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes is considered a pre-boot.
Okay.
All right.
And then this one kind of was weird, but it makes sense, I guess. And I guess Star Trek kind of falls into it. But Star Wars: The Force Awakens is a legacy sequel / remake sequel because it's a sequel to Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's a revival of Star Wars, and it's a remake of New Hope, basically.
I would just call that a sequel. Because
No, they call it a legacy sequel.
Okay. Well, still
All
a
right.
sequel to me. It's
Sounds
movie
like a bunch of
7.
people.
So what would Star Trek be?
Well,
I guess a legacy sequel.
Yeah,
because
that's the
it
point I was trying to
accepts
get to.
all of the previous canonicity.
that's what I was
I
trying to get to.
guess.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm glad you're here and you're listening. So, any
So what about Green Hornet?
I was supposed to talk about it. Oh, Ghostbusters. They did that wrong too. The female one. They did that wrong.
Yeah,
they did
that
that.
one-
They did
that one
that
was
wrong
poor.
because one, the villain was dumb, and two, they tried to make every single person the Venkman.
Yeah, and they didn't respect the IP.
Yeah,
Now,
they-
Ghostbusters Afterlife,
That's fantastic.
was amazing.
That was so good.
it had. I mean, there were some points that missed, but that was a great movie.
I almost cried at the Harold Ramis
where they all showed
tribute.
up. They did
Yeah.
that. They did that right.
Yeah, the Harold Ramis part, I damn near cried at that. That was
I like-
so good.
I like Bill Murray's reaction. He's like,
Yeah, he just keeps going. Yeah.
okay, wrapping it up. Any final thoughts on anything we had to say before we get to my last question of the night?
So I think my final thought is that most of these remakes are in the bad column. I think there are very few that we've talked about that fall into the good column.
That was one of the questions I had on here that I skipped over. Are you guys more willing to see a reboot of something, or are you more willing to see like an M. Night Shyamalan, like there's an Armageddon in a cabin? Or are you more like, oh, they're redoing Batman again? I mean, what?
But
Do
are the reboots bad because we're fans of the original, and so we're expecting it to be as good as what we remember? I mean, not saying like, clearly we were just talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Right.
I mean, maybe we're fans of that because it had so much heart as the original. But like one of the bad ones, are we so ingrained to the original, that we don't give the reboot a chance? I mean, some of them are just downright horrible.
Well,
right?
it's the George Lucas prequel syndrome. People who watch 4, 5, and 6, for the most part, generally do not like 1, 2, and 3. But there are kids whose Star Wars is 1, 2, and 3, and they'll defend it to the death.
Mm-hmm.
So I guarantee you, in 10 years, 7, 8, 9, there will be people who grew up like that is Star Wars. Like Rey is their Luke Skywalker. So, I mean, are reboots bad? Are you guys more willing to see something new? Are you like, is like nostalgia your heroine, or?
So I guess for me, like, I'll watch new stuff, I'll watch old stuff, or I'll watch remakes and stuff. But Tyler brings up a really good point. One of my big problems
I brought it up
with the
Oh,
ghost.
call.
No, the point that Tyler brought up, that
Thank you. Say it one more time.
Tyler.
There we go.
Oh, Tyler. The thing that he brought up was, okay, so going back to Ghostbusters. Afterlife was fantastic because it was so true to the original Ghostbusters. My big problem with the female-led Ghostbusters was that it didn't recognize and respect the rules that the original Ghostbusters set up for the ghost catching.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost catching, hit them with a proton beam, you have to drag them around. It doesn't hurt them. You drag them around, stick them in a trap. That's ghostbusting. But in the Ghostbusters movie, they developed all of these different weapons that they shot ghosts, and they dissipated, and the paper shredder
yeah.
ghost weapon, and all these ridiculous weapons to affect these ghosts. And my big problem with that movie was that they didn't respect the lore that they had established for the ghosts and the rules. So I think if you had shot that movie exactly the same, framed it not as a Ghostbusters movie, but as a different ghost hunting movie, that would go from, in my opinion, a shit movie to a bad but fun watch, right? Because the storyline still will be bad, but you get those cool action sequences with the ghosts.
Like, I enjoyed the movie still. Like, I'm not one of those guys like, oh, absolutely terrible. Like, it has its funny part, but it had instances like, okay, why the hell would you do that? A sane person wouldn't fucking do that.
Right.
Like, when she released the ghost to Bill Murray's cameo, like, no way in effing hell would you do that just to prove that ghosts are real to somebody you don't care about anyway. Just to prove a point, you got a guy killed for your ego. Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Like, the toilet humor.
God, I'm on fire. It's been 4 years and I'm still on
you
fire.
were on fire.
Like, the toilet humor of the guy, like, oh, he was so scared he shit his pants. And, like, you didn't need that. You could have classed up the comedy just a little bit.
Well, and the villain was so forgettable. I mean, they
Well,
turned the villain into Chris Hemsworth, like, after 10 minutes, and then made it a CGI.
Of the stuff in that movie, the Chris Hemsworth in that movie was one of my favorite parts because it was the ditzy blonde male receptionist.
I did respect Chris Hemsworth's character until they turned him into the bad guy. Like, him as a side character, joke character to represent the ditzy blonde male, I loved that turning of the screw, the turning of that genre on its head. As soon as you turned him into the villain, you're like, oh, well, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick. That was Cody's timer to keep us on track. Real quick.
Track left us half an hour ago.
Recommendations for reboots. Anyone out there who actually listened? Mom, here's some recommendations.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh, the new Nightmare.
What?
That is not. That's a no.
You don't like that?
Good.
I mean,
We talked about this. I thought
like,
you were.
it took some of the cheeky, dark comedy out, like, and I understand why people are mad at that. But if you're talking about making Freddy Krueger legitimately fucking terrifying, that is a terrifying movie.
Absolutely.
You're
I
Mr.
like-
Quote.
Great.
Did you know that after your head's cut, you love that freaking quote?
I liked Freddy, even though I'm a diehard Robert Englund fan. I thought Jackie Earle Haley is an awesome child molester.
That is a
let's
terrible
clip
thing.
that soundbite. That's almost as good as Kill All the Asians.
No, in my head, I'm wondering when is that going to come back. Oh, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to see how long that took. One episode.
So for anyone new listening, go back and watch the episode where we discussed the Meg, and that goes back to that episode.
That was taken out of context.
It's 100% out of context.
It was not. It
I
was a
like-
direct quote.
I liked Jackie Earle Haley as Freddy. I thought Freddy was awesome. But the reasons why the first Nightmare on Elm Street was good was because of the teenagers. They were lovable teenagers. These were just goth,
They're modern day teenagers.
mean-spirited.
They're more realistic.
They're more realistic, but they're also more forgettable.
Yeah.
I remember Johnny Depp's character better than I remember anyone from the reboot of that show. But I still enjoyed the movie.
I will say I got to get angry where they were about ready to make Freddy the redeemable character. And I was getting really upset, and then they're like, "Oh no, we're fucking with you. That wasn't true." I was like,
I don't like
it was
this.
a great swerve.
I was like that.
Great.
I was like
swerve.
that would have been so bad.
I don't
they
like
would've-
the sympathy for the devil. Like the Cruella prequel. It was a good movie, but it's like she's a horrible person. Why are we making her out to be sympathy for the devil?
Well, that's what Joker was.
I didn't see it.
That's what it was?
You haven't seen the Joker?
Oh,
I know.
You would actually probably enjoy Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
Like, it's one of those movies I've only seen once. I haven't forgotten it. It's like I put it on the same category as Sing Blade.
But
I
if
watch that once every 10 years.
But if I wanted
can't
to watch
forget the damn movie.
But if I wanted to watch a Martin Scorsese film, I would just watch a Martin Scorsese film.
Well, I don't understand that comment, but I think you'd enjoy the Joker.
Okay.
Yeah, Joker was a work of art. And it's hard to say about a comic book movie.
Okay, so you're recommending the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Battlestar Galactica. You watch ignore Caprica, and you can probably stop watching right before the last season. But Battlestar Galactica up to that point,
Is that the show that popularized
Incredible.
Frick or Frack?
Frack.
Frack.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Does that mean fuck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is their version of fuck.
Are you Googling stuff?
The exact name of the show I want people to know.
Oh, okay, hang on. So,
Yeah,
So what's your recommendation?
good question.
You did an entire
that
show.
dead air.
You did an entire show, and you didn't think of a single thing that you would.
Man, I don't know.
So if you did a reboot, would you want? I mean, I guess I can't acknowledge the previous iteration. but would you like throw in like some nods to it? I
Oh,
guess.
absolutely. I think you have to do some references. You have to do some nods. You have to appeal to that character.
So Clash of the Titans. That was a reboot.
No, it was a remake.
How is that a remake? Because
It's the same story.
Aren't we discussing all of them there?
Huh?
We're discussing all of those. So even if it is a remake, it's still a good
Right.
redone of the
Okay, so a reboot series, a genuine reboot, the Monsterverse. I genuinely like that. Universe.
Tom Cruise's Mummy
No,
and
that's
Dracula
the
Untold.
that's Dark Universe.
Oh, what am I
The
thinking of?
Monsterverse, Godzilla,
Oh, yeah, those were good.
King
Well,
Kong.
Kaijuverse.
Not the first Godzilla. The first Godzilla, you see Godzilla for maybe 10 minutes.
But I liked it. I liked it because there was so much like physics to it. Like he actually had weight.
Sure, in the 10 minutes you saw him.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Godzilla vs. King Kong and King of the Monsters, both of those were fantastic.
King of the Monsters was amazing.
right. Did you say King Kong?
Yeah.
Just the regular King Kong?
Skull
Skull Island?
I haven't, yes, I did not talk about that one.
Oh, okay. I didn't
But that was fine. I didn't mind that.
But I would recommend that because I thought that was a well done reboot.
Okay, my recommendation, if all my anime fans of kids growing up with cartoons in the 90s, Digimon Adventure. It gives...
You Googled that? You said
I was just making sure the name hasn't changed. Apparently they kept the same name.
you said it earlier.
I know, but I called it that. I wanted an exact name.
Although I am looking for, I can't recommend it because I haven't seen it, but I am looking for that 90s show because I'm a fan of that 70s show.
Oh, I didn't care for that 70s show. So
I would say
didn't they try
Masters
and-
of the Universe Revelations. Great show. Great. Harkens back to the Orig Motu. Doesn't talk about the shitty He-Man in space. Ugh.
You want to talk about... So two reboots we didn't talk about. I know
You're
I know.
the one that's on me.
Shut
You're the
up.
one that's on me about keeping us on time.
We're going to talk about these two things. One's a deep cut. One's legitimately fantastic.
Okay, all right.
The legitimately fantastic one is the new Voltron series on Netflix.
I've seen that.
Fantastic. So good. The deep cut is the Power Rangers remake they did a handful of years back.
No.
That one is surprisingly good. I really enjoyed
The
that
one where
one.
it's all about Krispy Kreme donuts and what's her face is in a bikini. One
Elizabeth
piece.
Banks.
Yeah, and they had sweet-looking mechs that turned into sweet-looking mechs. It was great.
It looked too organic for me.
It did look a little organic.
There wasn't
but
a-
it was good.
I did like how they made her a Green Ranger.
There wasn't enough
That went
rip-offs
evil.
of an old Japanese show
Yeah,
for me.
that was cool.
Yeah,
I did like
I like
that a
that.
lot. Yeah, so the original, the new remake of Power Rangers, I really enjoyed it. And I was real sad not to get the sequel with Tommy Oliver in it. Sucked.
He's a UFC fighter.
Jason David Frank is, yes. Okay.
Well, all right, you're the
They can't.
Are we
hear-
doing the outro?
They can't hear you nodding.
Oh, you're the outro, dude.
Okay. So thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Damage Control Podcasting. It's been a pleasure to record.
The Orig. We're naming our shows now.
Yes.
This is the Orig.
Of the Orig.
Go
ahead, Adam. Continue with the outro.
No, I'm sorry.
He doesn't have it written down on a piece of paper. He can't do it.
Like I do.
Yeah.
I wrote an outro down. I even highlighted it.
Anyway, so this is episode 1 of the Orig of our reboot of Damage Control Podcasting. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you will continue to listen to us on YouTube and SoundCloud, and hopefully soon Apple Podcasts, Pandora Podcasts.
Is that a thing?
And yes, I sent it to you, and I said it last outro too, as well as Spotify. Hopefully soon,
And Pornhub.
and Pornhub. That's if you want to see that sweet Tyler on Adam action, that's where you're going to go. All right, podcast out.
Podcast.